Welcome to the Enterprise University. In the second part of this exercise, we will learn how to install and configure the software prerequisites to the server machine. From the version 6.0 of Interprise Suite and onwards, the following software requirements are needed. Note that the Interprise Suite installer includes the prerequisite software components and installs them before proceeding with the actual installation. After installing the software requirements, we may need to restart our computer to continue setup. Apart from the first components, we need the following installed on the server machine. We will demonstrate the installation of the SQL Server application and creating the SQL Server instance. We had previously downloaded the SQL Server application installer that includes the management tool. This will install both SQL Server and the SQL Server Management Studio application on our machine. SQL Server instances, also referred to as SQL Server services, are used to house the databases used by Interprise Suite and is usually installed on the server machine. Multiple services can be installed on a server machine and each with their own ports, user logins, and databases. They are further categorized as default or primary instance and named instances. Default instances can be accessed through the IP address of the server. Named instances are additional instances that we can provide with our own instance name and can be accessed by appending a backslash in the instance name. It is ideal to install this application beforehand so that we will only need to connect to the instance when installing Interprise Suite. If installing beforehand, we may specify if you are creating a primary instance or named instance. But during the installation of Interprise Suite, we are provided an option to connect to the existing instances or download and install SQL Server and create new named instance before proceeding. When installing the SQL Server, we will need to choose an authentication method to use in confirming the identity of the users connecting to the server. The options are Windows Authentication and SQL Server Authentication. Windows Authentication is the default authentication and uses the Windows operating system in confirming the identity of the user connecting to the server. We can choose this option if you are using Windows operating system on all our servers or workstations. This authentication method is set to default and can be used temporarily if we have not enabled the mixed mode or dual authentication in the SQL Server instance. We can use this option to initially set up databases. However, we strongly recommend that SQL Server authentication is used. The SQL Server authentication uses the user and password created in SQL Server to confirm the identity of the user connecting to the server. Users are asked to provide their credentials when connecting to the server instance. This authentication is ideal for network environments using different operating systems. It also enables secure connection of authorized users to the server for both the local area and over the internet. It is considered a standard practice in client-server setup and the recommended authentication method to use. We will select SQL Server Authentication and provide a strong password for the built-in system administrator account, which is usually named SA. We can also specify from the installation the user that will be given full privileges to the server instance, or we can do so after client components are installed on the workstation, so that we can determine the user accounts that will be given access to the server and databases. Next, we will configure the Internet Information Services using the IIS Manager utility. We can use the IIS Manager if we want to configure the web services and website settings inside Internet Information Service using the interface. In most cases, the Internet Information Services is not enabled by default when we install a Windows operating system. To use the IIS Manager, we must download, install, and enable Internet Information Services on the server machine. To enable Internet Information Services, go to the Control panel, then select Uninstall a program, then click on the option Turn Windows Features on or off. Find Internet Information Services from the list and check to enable. Once installed and enabled, we can access the IIS Manager from the Administrative Tools window or typing inet mgr in this search box. We will find the default website that we can use to install the web services and website used by Interprise Suite. We can create a new website if needed to include as an option of websites to choose from when installing the website and web services. We can stop other websites from running or remove them from the service. Thank you for watching. In the next part of this exercise, we will learn how to install and configure the software prerequisites for installing the client components in a workstation.